I want to start by saying it is really nice for me to be here today. It's not often that a comedian gets called to inspire people. Right? It's only a few years ago, I remember, I had moved back to India, started doing stand-up comedy, and an older lady came to me and she said, "Beta, tum kya karte ho?" So I said, "Auntie, मैं comedian हूँ, मैं joke सुनाता हूँ." She said, "Joke तो मैं भी सुनाती हूँ, पर तुम काम क्या करते हो?" So things have changed a little bit. I remember a couple of years ago, I had a young boy asking me, he says, "Papa CJ, can I become a comedian when I grow up?" And I said, "Well, to be honest, if you grow up, you'll never be a comedian." So the secret to being a comedian is actually to stay young. Now, I'll tell you this today. My school has a reunion in Simla. There's like 500 people coming, and I really wanted to be there. But I was committed to being here, so I'm here to spend time with you. What I'm going to ask you is, for the next 15-20 minutes, turn your phones off, forget about the photographs, forget about tweeting, right? We can take photographs later and spend some time with me. So with a round of applause, are you okay with that? Of course, the flip side to that is I am a stand-up comedian, so if I do see you on your phone, I will come there and kick your ass. Right? Now, I am not a motivational speaker. I would like to think of myself more as a motivational listener. Right? I've got some slides somewhere, but I'm not going to be doing any of that. It's a presentation, somebody can send it to you later. So I'm going to be your motivational listener today. My entire session is only questions and answers. So whatever questions you have, let's just chat. Are you good with that? It's not like you have a choice. So whoever has questions, we'll just chat and go through today. This lady here.
My name is Akanksha.
Yeah.
First of all, thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
Sir, you threw up everything. You were MBA.
Yeah.
So you were working with a company. At what point of time you decided that you can be better at this? This is your life calling. How did you decide it at this age?
At this age, thank God you don't know my age.
I mean, you were already involved.
It's okay, oil of ole. I look great, I know, thank you. To be honest, you never know. So my background was, I did my MBA at Oxford. I was a consultant for 4 years in London. And my father was a tea planter, so I had taken a huge loan to do my MBA. It took 4 years for me to pay that off. You see, the thing is, as Indians growing up, our families always have this thing, "Beta, tum settle ho jao." Right? Nobody knows what settle actually means. Right? You go to school, you do college, you know, get an advanced degree, get a job, get married, have 2 children, then you are settled. Right? We don't have this concept of a gap year. We don't have this thing about, okay, follow your heart. So at my point, once I had paid off my loans, I had the freedom to say, okay, I'm going to do what I want to do now. So I took a year off. And in that year off, I tried lots of things. I learned to fly paragliders. I trekked up to Everest Base Camp. I set up some schools for underprivileged kids. I went to Vegas and played poker. In that year, I went to Edinburgh for the first time. And I saw the Fringe Festival. And I saw somebody doing stand-up comedy for the first time. And I just thought to myself, wow, that's a pretty good way to make a living here. So I just jumped into it. And in my first year, I did 250 shows in 10 months, actually. Now, every single day, I would wake up at about 10:30, 11. I was in London. Have one meal at 2 o'clock, which I would cook myself. Get into somebody's car at 4 o'clock, drive to some city in the UK. Get there by 7:38. I wouldn't eat because I was nervous. At that time, we got only 5 minutes to perform. Between 5 and 10 minutes, sometimes there'd be 300 people, sometimes there would be 3 people. You got paid no money. At the end of it, you drove back with whoever the other comedians were. We got dropped off somewhere in the outskirts of London at 1:30 in the morning. I was too poor to afford a taxi, so I had to change 3 different buses, sometimes standing for 45 minutes in the cold. I'd give this driver my share of petrol. I would get home at 4 o'clock in the morning every morning. I did this every single day for an entire year. At the end of it, you have no money, you have no friends, you have no relationships, you have no life. But every single comedy promoter in the country knows your name. And you kind of start off from there. So in terms of when you know it's your calling, I don't know if you ever kind of know. I believe if you love something, you will get good at it. If you get good at it, the money will come. The challenge is in every single artistic field, that gap between loving it and the money coming is indefinite, and you don't know if it will ever come. So that is the period you have to last out. That's where most people say, you know, I should go back to my day job, I'll do it as a hobby. So if you can last that period out, I think you kind of know yourself. There's no fixed, oh, I know it, so I mean, maybe the definition is once people start paying you for it. As simple as that. But that is the challenge, to last out that period between the passion and the money actually coming is where most people fall down. Does that answer your question? There we go. Go ahead. Give this guy a microphone.
Since I'm also pursuing my hobby and making a little amount of money.
What's your name?
But I'm Mohit.
Mohit.
So I do handwriting analysis
Okay.
to discover people's strengths through handwriting. So see, the thing is, everyone asks, what's your monthly income? They don't understand that there is no monthly income. You do a show, that there is an income. You don't do, there is no income.
शादी हो गई?
So अभी नहीं हुई.
जल्दी से कर ले. Now the typewriters and the computers are coming in, so.
That I'll take care of.
हाँ.
So the thing is, how to manage those people.
Frankly speaking, if people are talking to you and asking you what your monthly income is, those people are dickheads. You should not be friends with them.
My own parents.
You realize that you have just called your own parents dickheads in front of all these people. See, I think there's two sides to it. When I started doing stand-up comedy as well, now think about it. Here's my dad who was grown up working for one company for 35 years. He has managed to somehow raise funds, get a loan, send his son to Oxford, who has suddenly kicked this all up to become a clown. Right? I remember the older days when I started doing it, the maid who used to work, in our house, she used to ask my dad, कि Baba क्या करता है? So and he said, Baba Joker है. And she used to say, but Joker कैसे हो सकता है? Joker तो 4 फुट का होता है. Right? Now you've got to be practical as well, right? You have to feed the soul, but you have to learn how to feed the stomach as well. Right? So when I started doing stand-up, I was completely broke. After about a year of doing this stuff on the road, I took up part-time jobs. I worked in recruitment. I started doing some executive coaching stuff. And that would pay the bills, it would get money in. However, here's the big mental difference. I was doing comedy. I was doing the jobs on the side to support my comedy. Until this got to a point where I could do it for a living. Most people, what they do is, they go back to their jobs and they do their hobbies on the side. You understand what I'm saying? So, dude, they're your parents. They're not going to say it for some reason that doesn't make sense. But nothing succeeds like success. I remember when I had started doing stand-up and I was doing this executive coaching on the side, sometimes there'd be a party and somebody would ask my dad, what does your son do? And he'd say, oh, he's a management trainer. Ask him today, he says he's a stand-up comedian. So the day will come when your mom will say, my son is an handwriting expert.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, sir. My name is Supratik Ghosh and I'm from the Heritage School.
Okay.
First of all, sir, is
Call me
Papa...
CJ, don't call me sir, please.
Okay. Is that your action name, Papa CJ?
What do you think, man? Which dad has a child born and says, you know what, I'm going to call him. Just to fuck with his head, instead of him calling me Papa, I'm going to call him Papa.
So may I know your actual name, sir?
When you sign a check, you'll find out. See, that's how you get the money. And when you sign that check, he will do your handwriting analysis as well. He will tell you your strengths and then you can get a future. Yeah.
And sir, may I please know your favorite comedian?
My favorite comedian?
Yeah.
I admire different comedians for different reasons. I think Chris Rock is fantastic. I love his stage presence. I love his attitude. I admire George Carlin for the sheer genius that he is. And I admire Russell Peters. Not so much for the stand-up comedy. I've met him. He's a really nice guy. And I think that if you become famous and you become an asshole, you're basically just a famous asshole. So if you're a nice guy, this is one of the big lessons in life. 90% of people can do the job, right? People will work with you because they want to work with you. If you can be good to people, if you can be humble, you will go places.
Thank you so much, sir. That's all I wanted to say.
Hi, I'm Amtesh.
Yeah.
So in Indian subcontinent, what happens is, if you want to do something new, there's a fear of acceptance, right? So in stand-up comedy also, you must be feeling that the audience may not accept the joke that I'm actually delivering right now.
Yeah.
So how do you cope up with that feeling of acceptance?
I cry myself to sleep every night. Not really. No, see, in our job, in stand-up comedy, there's no theory, right? What I think is funny amongst a group of friends means nothing until it works in front of the audience. In my job, I get feedback every 15 seconds. If you guys are not laughing, my job is not going well. So, I've just got to take that feedback, and if it's not working, I've got to change instantly. Of course, when you do something new, people haven't seen it before. So the first reaction is, what is it? Kya kar raha hai? Handwriting ke saath he's going to make a living. But the more you do it, the more it gets accepted. When I started doing stand-up, and I would talk to people like, "Arey yaar, ye to stage se baat kar raha hai. You know, what is this guy doing?" But now, I will get off stage at a show, and if I haven't picked on a community, they will come to me and say, "Yaar, hamara to mazak nahi udaya." So things will change. Don't worry about acceptance. If you believe in what you do, if you get good at it, they will accept you, they will praise you. Yeah? So I wouldn't worry about acceptance. Anyone else? Oh, my job done. Ah, there you go.
Yeah, hi, this is Anirudh this side. Okay, I want to ask something. Is there anything challenging in your job? As in, what keeps you going? See, you're gonna make the audience.
I'll tell you what. I will show you what is challenging in my job. Come up on stage, I'll give you 5 minutes to make these guys laugh.
I'm a mechanical engineer.
Huh?
I'm just not gonna try it.
Why not? You think it's challenging?
No, what I'm asking you is, you're gonna get a different set of audience, right?
Yeah.
So, what keeps you going? Like, is there anything like particular set of audience which you think you cannot still just humor them?
Yeah, of course. I mean, so I'll answer that question. Instead of messing with you, I will actually answer that question. It is very different. Now, firstly, for example, the sense of humor in many different places is different. Right? From our own cities to the different countries. Tomorrow I'm performing in Malaysia. I don't know what their cultural references are. I haven't grown up listening to the same songs and the same music. So I will actually get there 2 days before, talk to the local people, find out about their politics. For example, Singapore is a very non-homogeneous audience. It's extremely mixed up. It's a very difficult place to perform. So there you've got to be a lot more in their faces. You've got to prod them to get a response from them. Malaysia has 3 distinct groups. You have the Chinese, the Malays and the Indians, which are very different. How do you cater to them? All 3 of them you can't have a show where there's 10 people laughing and the others aren't. The US, for example, is, I call it the McDonald's of comedy. It's very fast food. Here's a joke, here's a joke, here's a joke. That's how they like it. In the UK, on the other hand, it's like fine dining. In London, you can tell a 3-minute story with a payoff at the end and people will listen to it. So I remember once I was in Toronto, I was doing a show, I was at this festival called Just for Laughs. And on one night, I was doing 3 shows. The first show was at a regular comedy club called Yuck Yucks. So there you get on stage, with 300 people, and it's literally bang, 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 bang. The second show, straight after that, was in a pub, where there were 20 people on top of an Irish pub. And I literally sat at the table with them. And it was like chatting over dinner, and just telling stories, and the comedy kind of became a part of the conversation. After that, I went to a place called the Vapor Room. Now this place was what they call a pot lounge. So I get there are 50 tables, every table has a bong on it, and people are smoking marijuana. Right. I get to the bar and ask the guy, I said, "Listen, can I get a whiskey please?" He said, "I'm sorry sir, we can't give you a whiskey because we don't have an alcohol license." But at this show, I'm doing something completely different because there are 150 people in that room, stoned out of their minds. I have to crack a joke and wait. And it takes about 3 minutes for the first guy to get it. So over the course of one evening, I have exercised that comedy muscle in 3 different ways to cater to 3 different kinds of audiences. And similarly, you keep traveling all over the world and you've got to keep it relevant. When you start doing stand-up, by the way, if anything gets boring, just raise your hand and say, "CJ, shut up." Okay? When you start doing stand-up, the first thing you want is the confidence. Yeah? Can I make people laugh? Will they laugh at me? You know, that's the first thing. Once you have that confidence, then you're like, okay, what are the things that people like? So you'll go for the easy jokes. You know, gujus and madus are cheap, or bongs are intellectual and write poems when they're angry and things like that. Then you go on to the, see, some of you are still laughing at that. Then you go on to the next level. What are the things that I want to talk about? I want to be seen as a comedian who makes a difference. So you'll start doing political stuff and you'll do some politics and things like that. But after a certain while, you see, comedy is the only profession in which there are no rules. There are no boundaries. Nobody's saying you can say this, you can't say that. There are no social factors. So as a result, over time, you're forced to look inwards. What do I want to talk about? What do I think is funny? What you were talking about acceptability. Eventually, there's no acceptability issue here. So from my point of view, I do what I think is funny. You don't have to agree with me. But if you can relate to where I'm coming from, my job is done. So eventually you are forced to look inwards. So for me as a comedian, it is an incredible journey of self-discovery. Today you ask me a question, I'll tell you what the honest answer is. If you don't like it, tough. But what was your question to start with? I went on my own trip. Does that answer your question, whatever it was? Yeah? Sure. Okay, fine. Anurag Batra. I love how you asked the question. Has anyone heard of this? Yeah, he knows everyone.
I'm going to ask you a tough question. And I
What
want
is
to
your name?
honest-
What is your name, sir?
My name, whatever you want me to be, I'll be that right for you. But what are the perks of your job?
What are the perks of my job?
I want an honest answer, Papa CJ.
Well, for starters, at my
Otherwise, I'm
age,
going to give your real name away today.
well, for starters, at my age, I still have my hair.
Okay. Real answer, real answer, real answer.
I will quote Russell Peters on this. Money, fame, chicks. I never have to travel at rush hour. I wake up whenever I want. The only time I set an alarm is to, literally catch a flight if I have to catch a morning flight. Look at my life, dude. I work for 40 hours, for 40 minutes in a week, maybe. Could it be better than that?
Good.
Hi. Was that honest enough?
Yeah, it was.
There you go.
It was for everyone.
More than honest, was that a bit too much, sir? Which part did you not? Are you here with are you sitting next to your son by any chance?
CJ.
For a stand-up comedy show, by the way, never go with your kids. Because it's like watching a movie and then one of those scenes comes and nobody knows where to look. Suddenly you start finding your passport, button, all those to make chai. These days the kids say, Papa has to aage karo. You thought it's motivational, so why are you not motivated? Look at this guy, yeah. I said, money, fame, chicks. He's like, man, I want to be a comedian. Totally motivated. Even his legs are gone apart and he thought of it.
Yeah,
Where? This hand. Yeah.
I'm Rajveer.
What's up?
I'm doing a course in 3D animation and visual effects, but my keen interest is into film direction.
Okay.
I've directed 3 films right now. But the thing is, the area where I'm studying, see, no, not even my classmates, not even the faculty, no one supports me. Everyone is into 3D, modeling, animation and those kind of stuff. But I want to do digital films. Okay, so this is a part of my life where everyone is stopping me from doing what I want to. I mean, if I talk about my family, they support me but they don't have the financial thing to support me in my career. So I'm pretty much confused. What should I do? Should I go into 3D only to earn some money? But I don't have anything to do. I don't have any financial background.
See, the decisions you'll have to make yourself. What I would do in your position, I would do whatever it took to be able to earn that money to put me in a position to follow my dreams. So maybe you need to invest, somebody was talking about it earlier, you just invest some time in getting that money. Like you said about exactly his question, he wants to do handwriting. But his parents say, yeah, isme kya paisa hai? I'm not really supportive. Or even if the parents are supportive, saying, we support you, boss, but what's going to pay the bills? So once you have financial independence, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, Or find people who support you. Find another bunch of guys who are interested in doing the same thing. Figure out how you can pool resources together to get help and support you in your way. Go and shadow somebody who works in that field. While you're doing a day job, go in the evenings and work there for free. Learn. I didn't agree with it may be great for business, but this examify stuff, right, is exactly the opposite of what they did in that Three Idiots film, for example. Right? They're telling you how to get to exams. Forget about that. For you, you've got to learn the craft. If you're actually passionate about it, do it. Let them separate the passion from the money. But keep in mind the money is important as well. Figure out what you need to do to fund yourself. Talk to people who are doing it. Do you know people who are doing this? Do you know people who are doing this? Talk to them. They're the best guys to talk to. And if you're passionate about it, they will help you. They will give you people to work with. They will figure out how to support you. And go for it, yeah.
Thank you.
It's mine. Yeah, there's a lady here.
Hello.
Oh, you have the microphone. Fine. We'll come back to you. He's feeling very happy. मेरे पास microphone है. तुम्हारे पास क्या है?
Yeah, thanks, Vijay. So my question is like,
What's your
life is
name?
Uttam.
Okay.
So life is so serious. and you know how to make people laugh and the practice of sense of humor. So what is the advice for all of us to practice and learn to
See,
have
firstly, let me start by asking you a question. Are you Bengali?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Because see, one, as a byproduct of that, you are born thinking life is so serious. Right? I could make out from the second you said, I am Uttam. And then laugh at you, I have the microphone. Life is not so serious, boss. It is seriously not so serious. I recently did something, so one of the things I do is I do shows in hospitals, right? And the last time I was in Singapore, I was doing this show, and whenever I travel, I get some local comedians to give them some exposure. And I got these guys to the hospital, and one of these guys did laughter yoga, right? And you had a squeak. What happened? You think it's completely mental? That's what I thought as well. I swear that's what I thought as well. Basically, you see these guys in parks who are just laughing their heads off. I think guys are nuts. But there was one guy who was there whose son had been in coma for 25 days. He was paralyzed waist downwards. He hadn't woken up, and we didn't know whether he would live or die. But for the 45 minutes that he was with us, he laughed his head off. Right? And you could see the pain in his eyes, but you could just see him laughing away. And whatever crazy stuff you think it is, it works. You guys, you want to try it? Yes. You want to try it? Okay, so basically the way it works is that what happens is you start off with what is fake laughter, essentially. But fake laughter, through interaction and looking at each other, will actually become real laughter. So what I want you to do is, the first row, can you get up and face the second row? Everyone stand up. Let's just stand up. The first row, get up and face the second row. Right? And similarly, guys, I want you to just face each other. Just face groups. And make eye contact with a whole bunch of people. And what we're going to do is, we're going to do gradient laughter. You think laughing is easy? Give me a cheer if you think that laughing is easy. Okay, I will show you how difficult it is and how it can be an exercise. I'm going to time you. I want you guys to laugh for 1 minute, non-stop. I will time you. But what we're going to do is, I'll give you an example. We're going to do something called gradient laughter. Now, gradient laughter means we're going to start slowly and then go really high. So, you can sit and laugh, no problem. So, we'll start slowly. 1 minute is my challenge to you. Ready? Your time starts now. I can keep laughing. Can you laugh? 30 seconds. Come on, point at each other, laugh. 45 seconds, Uttam, are you laughing? 10 more seconds. All right, and sit down. What do you think? Was it completely fake, or did you find some real laughter along the way? Uttam, where are you? As easy as that. It's not rocket science, and it's good for you on so many levels. It increases the oxygen flow, it helps your digestive system, immune system, and the sex life as well. So it's not that difficult, dude. All you gotta do is look at things the right way. I mean, the beauty about humor, they say comedy is tragedy plus time. Over time, if you can look at your problems in life in a funny way, great, boss, there's no better way of getting over it. Guys are still coughing. It wasn't so easy, to laugh for 1 minute. What do you think? Superbly skeptical lady in the front. Then, see the secret about being mental? If everybody is mental, then everyone looks okay. Out of the group, so it's best not to do it in public. Yeah, any more? Go on. So when we're running out of time, just tell me, I'll stop because I know you had extra time. Okay, wait, give him a microphone here. Chuck it, he can carry it. Yeah.
So you just recently said that you've been to various countries and you love interacting with people.
Yeah.
So there would have been a horrible time when you would have loved interacting with them since you love making people smile.
Yeah.
There would have been an instance when you could have seen a very snooty fellow,
Yeah.
a person who give some kind of attitude towards you.
Yeah.
So, but again, if you want to make them smile, what kind of attitude do you have at this point in time?
See, it's very different when I'm on stage, right? I'm a comedian. If you come to my show and you're snooty, it's your loss, boss. You've paid for the money to come here and watch my show. You don't want to laugh? Don't laugh. I've still got paid. I'm having a good time. I'm laughing, right? So often what happens is, and you do that, sometimes that happens when you're doing a show and you have these really snooty crowds, right? They will come for a show not because they want to have a good time, but they want to be seen at that event. Ooh, it's so cool. What are you wasting your time for, boss? If you're enjoying yourself, tell your face. You know, no point trying to be cool is your loss. So, I don't even need to tell them anything, boss. Life will kick their ass. Uttam, are you smiling? Lady in the front. I saw his face, dude. She's far better looking. Give it to her. We'll come to you next time.
Hi. So what was your first show like? I mean, I think I'm funny, we think we're funny, but was it terrifying to do?
It is absolutely terrifying because my first show was on a boat called the Wibbly Wobbly boat, which is on the River Thames in southeast London, and it was known for being a really difficult gig. In London, if they don't like you, they will tell you. And this was southeast London, a really rough gig, about 40 people in. I was on this boat, but surprisingly, it went okay. It took 3 or 4 shows for me to have a tough one. But
what do you do when people don't laugh? Has there ever been a time when people don't laugh?
yeah, of course, every comedian has a time when people don't laugh. You just do something different. You know, initially when you start by doing 5 minutes, and you only have pre-prepared 5 minutes to talk, right? So even if they're not laughing, what you tend to do is, oh, they didn't like this one, they're going to love the next one. Then you go to the next one, and they don't like that either, so you keep digging a hole that is deeper and deeper. Over time, as you get more experience, now today I have a whole different bunch of things I can do as material. So I will figure out what you like. The second I find, they like this, that has a little hook that is attached to a whole bunch of other different things. And I will talk about those. But if it's not working, change instantly. For us at least. And for me, the fun is this, the audience interaction. Because most guys can get on stage and tell you a joke that they've prepared in advance. But when we're interacting and I'm making up stuff on the spot, it's spontaneous, there's a beauty to that. And then as an audience, you know that nobody else in the world will ever get this show because it's been made up right here. So for me, that's where the fun lies. Somebody there had a question. Yeah, for the guy in the glasses, the good looking fellow with the short hair. You're going to ask the same question. She beat you to it. Somebody here said, this guy in the corner.
How did you discover yourself? What made you...
This sounds like a question about masturbation. I'm not going to answer it.
No, what was that thing that made you confined in this field?
What was the thing that made me what in this field?
Confined. I mean, like, made you step in this field.
It was pure fluke. I saw somebody doing it. I thought it was great.
So,
I stepped in by fluke. And then I just loved doing it, so I stayed on. And then people paid me. I was like, wow, this is awesome. I'm messing with you. What is your real question? Besides so if you want the inspirational lesson from this, experiment, try a whole bunch of different stuff. The hardest thing to do is to find what you love doing. That is half the battle. Once you find it, boss, you will follow it with your passion, you might get there. But to find what you love doing, you're not going to find it by sitting in front of Facebook on your computer. Get out there, meet people, interact, try different things, you never know what works. And don't be scared to fail. I mean, in my profession, in stand-up comedy, you cannot succeed without failing. Failure is the only way to learn. From a good show, you learn nothing. You walk off stage thinking, okay boss, I'm the king. But in a bad show, you're forced to change instantly. That 15 seconds, either I change on the spot. There is nothing more terrifying than standing on stage for 5 minutes, trying to make people laugh and getting silence. When you're in that 3-hour car ride back to your house, you are thinking to yourself, if I'm ever again in the same audience, in the same city, in the same country with a similar mix of audience, what can I do differently so I don't feel like such an idiot? And that is how you learn and grow. So for us, failure is the only way to succeed. So my answer to you is, try stuff, fail, it's the only way you'll make it. Okay. Guy here in the front. Oh, now you've got a question actually. Quickly ask before somebody else asks it.
Okay. How has being a stand-up?
Easy, Tiger.
How's being a stand-up comedy changed you as a person?
How's it
on a more on a more intellectual level or on a personal level?
I think it makes you a lot more honest. It's really strange in that, see, one of the best parts of this job, what I love the most is, and this comes from like, you saw this interaction with me and Anurag as an example. Now, I've done shows with Anurag before. He is one of the most successful guys I know. Really hardworking, runs an empire that does really well. He's a superbly senior guy, right? We joke amongst each other. One of the beauties about stand-up is, when I tell jokes, it's a great equalizer. We're chatting like friends. When I get off stage and I go at the back, you've spoken to me for 45 minutes. We've had a chat. It feels like you know me, right? At a regular gig, you'll probably have a couple of drinks as well. So I'm backstage. I may be chatting with a guy who's 70 years old. I've been in this situation. We're chatting like friends. He's telling me dirty, filthy jokes. His kids come, who are 45 years older than I am. And he says, "Acha, acha, ab chup ho jao, bacche aa rahe hain." So the beauty, what I love about my profession is I get to interact with people at a very personal level. They confide in me. I'm a comedian. I have no ulterior motive. I want nothing from them. I'm here to make them laugh. So the greatest joy of my profession is to be able to share those interactions. The best compliment, 2 of them I've got, which I remember, is one, I had an 86-year-old woman who came to me after a show in Calcutta. And she says, "Thank you so much, beta. I haven't laughed so much in 30 years. And I thought to myself, this is why I do stand-up comedy. And the other one was, I did a show at Friends Club in Delhi. And this girl came up to me after the show. I was sitting chatting with somebody. And she said, "If you don't mind, can I say something?" So I said, "Yeah." She said, "You are to just like us." So I said, "Yeah, of course I'm just like you." So the beauty of, see, comedy in India is slightly different. All over the world, it's a very grassroots art form. It's anti-establishment, anti-elite, etc. In India, English language stand-up comedy is performed for the elite. And because comedy is so new, you do 3 shows, somebody takes your photo, sticks it in the paper, and you think, "Boss, I have arrived." A comedian is not a celebrity. It is the antithesis of a celebrity. A comedian is a guy who's connected to the ground, who you can relate to. If I get on stage and say, "Hey, you know what it's like when you're getting bored," and you get out the next day and say, "You know what, I'm going to buy a 1 crore car." No, you don't know what it's like. But do you know what it's like when you come home after a day's work and your wife is nagging you? Yes, maybe you do know what that is like. So, as a comedian, we have to be extremely grounded. So my greatest joy is the human connection that I get from people who I meet. And that for me is the greatest. And to be able to genuinely make people happy for the 45 minutes that they're with me, or longer.
Hi, my name is Rajat. I need to ask something about your MBA degree.
Yeah.
Tell me, how is it helping you in what you're doing at the moment, number 1?
Yeah.
And number 2, explain what they teach in MBA school in Papasi this time.
Okay, so to answer that question, firstly, no education is ever waste, right? It's never about the content. It's about the training of the mind. It's about how it makes your mind think. I did science in class 11 and 12. I remember nothing of it, right? But it's about how it makes you think. So in MBA, you look at a problem and you think of the operation side, the marketing, the sales, or whatever else. How it has helped me as a comedian, within 9 months of doing stand-up comedy, I was doing shows that people who had been doing it for 3 or 4 years weren't doing. And a lot of it is just basic courtesy. For example, I should tell you this, it's a secret. My biggest marketing is my conversations with people. I don't have management, I don't have marketing, I don't have PR, I don't have an agent. I am everything, right? But in my business, you are most valuable for the 20 minutes after you have had an amazing show. Because that's when people think, "Wow, this guy is amazing, we should really get him." And I remember once I had somebody who said, oh, I'll be your agent. He says, after you do a show, you should be a little bit, don't mix around so much. You should go in a room and, be like, dude, I'm not a star. I've got to be on the ground. And I get not even 100% of my work comes from people who I meet at shows. Who say, ACJB, that was really good, man. Can you come? Yeah, sure. So the MBA helped. Of course it helps. Today, 99%, Anurag, you can probably validate this, of every single business is about relationships and networks and your own personal brand. People will work with you because they want to work with you. Often people don't understand that. Today what happens at a corporate show, for example, as a stand-up comedian, see there's a big difference. When you come for my show, you have come into my environment. I will do what I want, I will use the language that I want. You don't like it, don't come. When I come in India, I do corporate shows, private shows, birthday parties, anniversaries. I mean, the only thing I haven't done is a Suhagrat, right? But, you never know. But in those events, I have come into your environment. I have to respect the boundaries of the place that I am in. I can't show up there and say, oh yeah, but I'm an artist. Yeah, you might be an artist, but you're not getting paid again to do another show. So, that's common business sense. So, no education is a waste, in my book. How will I explain what they teach in MBA school in Papa? So here, let me put it this way. I spent 30,000 pounds to become an MBA. You think I'm going to give you that for free? Check. Go on. Give this guy a mic.
I have the mic.
Who's got the mic? Go on. We'll
Hi,
come back to
CJ.
you.
I'm Sakal. My first encounter with you was in 2008. American Center. You came with an American comedian. You remember?
We have a stalker.
Yeah. So my question is that the tag of Oxford, did you give you the required motivation to take a very big decision in your life? Like as in you were passed out of Oxford and you did 4 years of consulting. If you had not been in Oxford, would you have taken the same decision? As in the Oxford is a very big name.
So would I have taken a decision? Your question is, would I have taken a decision to become a comedian if I had not gone to Oxford?
Yeah.
I don't think Oxford had anything to do with my decision to become a comedian. In fact, to be honest, it would hamper me. When I started in the UK, most comedians are very anti-elite and Oxford is viewed as quite elite. So I would never tell anyone. India, when you come and start and perform, you say, oh, I'm a comedian. Acha, comedian. I went to Oxford. Are Oxford guy? So it's in India that Oxford has nothing to do with it. Irrelevant whatsoever.
Thank you.
There was somebody whose hand was up who had got this guy here. He's been waiting for a while in the blue shirt. And we'll come back to the other person who raised their hand.
Yeah. Hi, CJ.
Hey, kya yaar?
I can ask you.
Yeah, ask.
Anyways,
What is your name, sir? For the
my name is Gaurav. Anyways, a lot many times I've seen you perform. And,
Yeah.
You crack jokes and make people part of your jokes, right? And does that leave people embarrassed? Are there any incidents where you have rubbed somebody on the wrong side and he has come and...
Okay, so a lot of it is about intent, right? I think you could put somebody else on stage saying exactly the same things that I'm saying and would offend a lot of people. You've been at my shows. Have you been offended at any point? So what happens is over the course of pretty much 5 minutes, the audience understands my intentions. When they understand, so I will embarrass people. I have no problem embarrassing people. But I never want anyone to leave a room feeling hurt. So I think there's a big difference in that, and intent matters a lot. As long as the audience is clear that your intent is to entertain and not to offend, I doubt very many people will get offended, is my experience. This guy here in the blue shirt. Is that a fair answer to your question? Are you guys happy with that? If you pay attention, if you want clarifications, happy to.
Okay, so I have this really stupid habit of taking life too seriously, and which is why I get really depressed at
Are you
times.
Bengali as well?
Yeah, I'm a Bengali as well. I was just about to say that. I
You
was
go
a
talk to
Bengali as well.
Uttam, man. He's sorted out now. Look at his face. That is you in a few years.
Please, I want some quick tips to prevent this depression.
Huh?
I require some quick tips from you if you can communicate.
I'll tell you what, I read somewhere recently that you are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. Surround yourself with positive, good, happy people, man. You're surrounded by miserable, you'll also become a miserable. Right? And don't go to intellectual in life. I know you're predisposed to it because of you born
I'm really
Bengali.
sick of this really annoying seriousness in life.
Then don't be serious, boss. You just have to decide, I'm not going to be serious. Hang out with people who are fun. You need a balance. Today, for example, technology really helps you, but guys spend their whole lives on Facebook and Twitter, yeah. What is the point of that? Where is your human interaction? You have 5,000 friends on Facebook. You want to throw a party, you don't know who to call. What kind of life is that, boss? Get out there, man. Turn off your phone, make human connections, and talk to people, meet people. You've come here for this whole thing here. Go meet 5 different guys, introduce yourself. Hi, I'm so-and-so. Who are you? What do you do? Meet somebody outside of your field of work, outside of your regular group. That's how you will get exposure, yeah, by talking to people who do different things and think differently. Otherwise, you're surrounded by 5 guys in the same college thinking about the same thing, like the guy there who wants to do filmmaking. Right? You've surrounded yourself by people who are negative, who don't believe in that. Surround yourself with different people who can look at the problem in a different way. You'll be sorry.
Thank you, sir.
Cool. Gentleman there with the long hair. I love the hairstyle, by the way.
Thank you. I'm Vishnu. I'm just going to take on the question which earlier asked.
Yeah.
Oxford help you to be a comedian.
Yeah.
My question, I'm going to rephrase this.
Sure.
Since you come from a good brand, you work with a consulting company,
Yeah.
that give you a certain sense of surety or assurance, which help you take a risk.
At some level, yes. You see, it's like there's a friend of mine, a comedian called Jim Jeffries, right? Who talks about. At some level, maybe Jesus must have been Indian as well, right? And I'll tell you why. Even both of us look a bit like him. Is because he was, and this is I'm quoting Jim Jeffries, who's a famous comedian, and he says he was a carpenter for the first 33 years of his life, and after that he became the Messiah. Right? So at some point as a child, right, his father must have told him, listen, this God-shot business is fine, but you need something to fall back upon. Right? And Jim Jeffries' joke is also at some point Jesus must have been on this mount giving this sermon and 2,000 people standing there, and one guy would have said, yeah, I know this guy, he built my gazebo. Right? So yeah, as the Oxford MBA does give you something to fall back upon. Right? But at a certain point, I think you got to let that go. And only you know when that time comes. I used to do a lot of executive coaching as a support system. There was a time where I was earning most of my income through that to support myself in comedy. Now, I don't do that much. They ask me to, but now comedy pays the bills, I suppose. I don't know if that answers your question, but like I told him exactly earlier, you need to feed the stomach and you need to feed the soul. So you've got to be a bit realistic about how the world functions. So you need that backup sometimes, so you can do your handwriting analysis.
As far as comedian industry is concerned, do you think these comedy nights with Kapil or real soap operas are really helping your industry in India?
The soap operas?
Like the real reality shows.
Reality shows?
In comedy.
To be honest, I don't watch much of the comedy on TV. Is it helping? Yeah, sure it is. Because if it wasn't popular, they wouldn't be paying for him to be on TV. Kapil gets paid 20 lakhs for a show. Right? It's the program with the highest TRPs in the country. So it's clearly working. Amitabh Bachchan is getting on it. So is it growing? Yes. Does it help me personally? I don't think that the audience that he plays to is necessarily for me.
In terms of acceptance, actually.
Yeah, of course it is. See, comedy, especially live stand-up, an audience matures into it. The first time you do it, they're like, "Ye kya ho raha hai?" By the second time, like, I see how this works. Then they start enjoying it. So yeah, I believe the more we have, the more we'll have, yeah. So from my point of view, sure it is. Any last questions? Anyone? One last question here and then we'll wrap it up. Go on.
Hello, my name is Archita.
Yeah.
There must be days when you feel low. So how do you still show up, dress up and make people laugh?
That's what makes you a professional.
But how do you overcome that low?
You get backstage and you tell yourself that the 300 people who are in this auditorium have paid money to come here and laugh. If my day affects me giving them that laughter, I should not be in this profession. It's my commitment to my audience who have come here to have a good time. As a comic, you have to put that back. I will tell you what I'll end with. Tom Peters was a famous management guru. He said that leaders do not create followers. He said great leaders do not create followers, they create leaders. So when you guys leave today, I don't want you to be inspired. I want you to inspire. And the best way to inspire is to lead by example. So that 5 years from now, somebody like you in an auditorium will point at you and says, if he can do it, I can do it. And each of you in this room, you can do it. My name is Papa CJ. God bless you all. Thank you.